Brene Brown is possibly the most well-known social researcher out there. She's spent the past 2 decades studying empathy, courage, vulnerability, and shame, and has become an author of 5 New York Times bestsellers. Now, I'm assuming there are many of you who have read her works, seen her TED Talk, or watched a Netflix special that came out last year. But other than those last 2, if you haven't read any of her books, then this video is going to tell you exactly where to start. The first 3 books you should read of hers, I mentioned in my previous video, are Daring Greatly, Rising Strong, and The Gifts of Imperfection. Now, I am mentioning these first 3 books to start with for a very good reason. Brene Brown herself says to read these. Brene Brown herself suggests reading these 3 books first, and in an order she believes they should be read. It is first Gifts of Imperfection, How to Be All You, Daring Greatly, How to Be All In, and then finally Rising Strong, When You Fall, How to Pick Yourself Back Up and Start Again.
Hey guys, it's me from the future. I realized once I started editing this that I missed a very important point. I'd personally say to take the order Brene Brown has suggested reading and flip it around and start with Rising Strong first. This is because I believe right now picking yourself up is what's most important. You have to know you can get back up before you start throwing yourself at everything life brings you. And then with Daring Greatly, possibly Brene's best book, we can learn how and why to be vulnerable. Why to throw ourselves in those situations.
What is most common in these books is, as Brene Brown calls, a yearning to live a wholehearted life. Living wholeheartedly is defined in the book as engaging in our lives from a place of worthiness. It means cultivating the courage, compassion, and connection to wake up in the morning and think, no matter what gets done and what gets left undone, I am enough. It's going to bed at night and thinking, yes, I am imperfect and sometimes vulnerable and often afraid, but that doesn't change the fact that I am brave and worthy. Both Daring Greatly and The Gifts of Imperfection are, as Brene says, call to arms books. They are all about building the courage to show up and be seen, even if it risks failure, shame, and even heartbreak. The reason why is because hiding, pretending, and armoring up is killing our hopes and, most importantly, our true potential. If we are brave enough, often enough, we will fail. To quote it, this is a story about what it takes to get back up and how owning our stories of disappointment, failure, and heartbreak give us the power to write a new ending. Brene goes into why stories are so important and how the stories we make up in our head aren't always as bad as they originally seem. And most of all, as she says, you can't just skip the second act. That's right, every film has that tough second act hurdle it has to get through. The midpoint where the character has to learn something new. They often get to that point of no return before they make it out on the other side. Now, this is why I really enjoyed this book. Rising Strong is about all of that. How you can't just skip to the conclusion and make it to the end of the story without any bumps or bruises. Now, Rising Strong isn't for everyone. Nothing is. A lot in this book some people may not emphasize with her. And that is because Brene is at a point in her life where I would say she is financially privileged. Some of the situations she brings up are situations where I would love to be in. For example, being nervous about an interview with Oprah. I mean, I would still be nervous of an interview with Oprah. With that said, there is a great saying. There is no hierarchy to suffering. There is nothing that makes my pain better or worse than yours. Pain and suffering is simply just that. No matter what your social status is, suffering is suffering. And the best thing you can do is try and see it from their point of view. It may not be a worry in your world, but in theirs, it is their current biggest concern. So this channel is all about how you can better yourself mentally and physically with others. Each week, with every topic I focus on, will come from successful authors who are highly researched in their given field. This little guy kept getting shot and was basically being really distracting and I couldn't focus. He's a little foster kitten. Decided to call him Neo. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay updated when the next video is coming out, which will be called Being Vulnerable. Check out the first video here and please like and comment below. Maybe you've seen Brene Brown before, so yeah, tell me what you think of her, and join me in the next video as we go beyond a thought.